You've partnered with Magic 102.5 today in Beaumont, Texas, to talk about the great opportunities available with the Army ROTC program. Now, Brenden, how old are you?
I am 20 years old.
20 years old. And at what age did you decide, you know what, I think I want to join the Army ROTC program?
I joined, I officially joined, I contracted October 1st. My birthday is, so I was at the time 19 years old still.
Okay.
Right before.
Okay, so it's not like, it wasn't like a lifelong dream. It was just like, you know what, I'm trying to think what my future looks like, and I think this is going to be a great opportunity.
Exactly. I weighed my pros and cons out, and the pros outweighed the cons. So it was definitely a good decision.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of those pros. What are some of the pros of being a part of the Army ROTC program?
One of the pros I definitely say is just knowing you're part of something that's bigger than yourself. Knowing that you are one of thousands of other people that are supporting the same things you are, going for the same goals you are, and in the end, trying to protect the country. Another thing that I looked forward to was actually getting paid to do it.
Yay!
So it is always a huge incentive. So
Got
the
it.
pay, and then also them paying for my school, so my schooling costs. So that was a huge blessing, because getting the scholarships is one thing, but once you go through that, you got to figure out, hey, if I barely made it on the scholarships, how am I going to make it out the last 3 years? So the Army definitely came in handy for that one.
So they're taking care of your education so you can go to school, and they're paying you at the same time.
Yes,
And I think you also mentioned to me in another broadcast that they're helping you out with books and fees as well.
yes, that is correct. Every
That's great.
I get it's usually a fixed amount. I don't mind saying it's usually about $600 book stipend.
Okay.
Fees, and it goes towards whatever books I've had to pay for over the semester. And then I also get my bi-weekly stipend as well. It's a consistent stipend. It's not, I'm guessing if it comes continuously.
Okay.
So definitely set.
Okay. And you're actually in the reserves right now.
Correct. As a student, I am in the reserves. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, you know, a lot of people are like, I'm not going into the military because I don't want to get drafted. And, you know, things are crazy in the world right now. And that's really not how it works. Let's talk about how the whole drafting thing works and how it would probably be a very minimal chance that you would be drafted.
Okay, we'll do. So the drafting, if you're in ROTC as a cadet, Army really emphasizes that you're a student first. Everything comes after. So the only way that I had the possibility of getting drafted is if everyone else in the entire Army, everyone on active duty, everyone that's on the reserves that aren't college students, everyone that's in the Army reserves, everyone would have to be deployed and gone for us to actually get taken out of school and get sent to combat. Now, why? Otherwise, they heavily enforce school being top priority, because at the end of the day, they are paying an investment, so they don't want to come back null and void.
Right. Right. I get it. And I understand that. But, you know, there's a lot of stigmas out there. And, you know, that's like people's biggest fear. Well, I don't want to go because then I get drafted and end up in the war and then I die. And it's like, you can die in a car accident. You can die walking down the street. You know what I'm saying? People are dying in the classroom. You know what I'm saying? So anything can happen at any time. There's a risk with no matter what you do. From the moment you lay down, from the moment you wake up, to the moment you go to the grocery store.
As soon as you put the car in drive, you're already at risk for something possibly happening. But you can't live your life in fear. Man, this might happen.
Right.
Same with the Army. It is a possibility that I could get hurt in combat. It's not. I could get hurt walking across the street, as we just stated. So I try my best not to live in fear of what could happen, but realize what is happening right now and make action for it. And that's why the Army really was a good setup for me.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I'm in Texas right now. You're in Texas right now. And we just had this like historical ice storm, snowstorm. It knocked the power out. People died. Like over 30 Texans died in this storm because they didn't have heat or, you know, whatever the issue was. So that was something very unexpected and something very rare that occurred. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a reminder that anything can happen at any point in your life.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly. And with that, you just, sometimes there are things that happen that you can't prepare for. like the winter. Who was going to know that we were going to reach below freezing temperatures in Texas?
Right.
Who would have guessed that? But we did actually have several ROTC students that are part of the National Guard, and they were actually deployed out in Texas. Several went to Galveston, several went to up the Houston area, Beaumont, wherever the need was, San Antonio, and they actually assisted with the water being distributed. And several have also been on the front lines of the COVID vaccine shots being distributed. So as a student, if you did decide to go into the Army National Guard and contract, and then while you get that pay, another pay as well, but you'd still be obligated. Hey, if you get a call, we have to go. So several students that are already, like in our program, we're very friendly with people that are National Guard, prior service, SMP, green to gold cadets. We're open to anybody that wants to come in and join. Our program is very transparent. We try our best to be heavy recruiters as well, because at the end, it is a representation of us.
Right.
So we're open to it.
That's what's up. Well, I'm proud of you for making that decision. I think it's great that you're going to be able to go through school, have a job, get paid to go through school. They're going to pay for your schooling. And then when you come out of school, you're going to have, I'm assuming a bachelor's degree.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what are you majoring in?
Criminal justice. I'm a criminal justice major, and I have a minor in military science.
Okay, that's what's up. Well, I have a lot of respect and admiration for our United States Armed Forces. My grandfather served for over 30 years in the United States Army. Yeah, and my dad, 20 years in the United States Navy. And something that I think a lot of young people don't think about is what happens next. Like when you're young, you like to turn up, have fun, kick it and all of that, but you're not thinking, what does life look like when I'm 40, 50, 60, 70? You know what I'm saying? And like for my grandfather and my father, they had a pension. My dad, he served 20 years. He got his pension. And now for the rest of his life, he gets a check, every single month. And he gets full medical benefits, which, is a blessing because, these medical insurance premiums are ridiculous. So he gets free health care. So, there's definitely lots of perks and pros, like you said earlier, when it comes to joining the military.
I agree. And at this point in time, I am not set that, hey, I'm going to do 20 years.
Right.
I'm at my minimum first, and then I'll decide once I reach my minimum if I'm going to stay or should I go. I'll decide.
Got it. So right now you're thinking you're probably just using it as a stepping stone to get to where you're trying to get without acquiring a lot of debt in the process of doing so.
Exactly. It's a given. I give the Army these years. They give me my cost for my education. I don't have to worry about it. So it's a mutual thing. And at the end, I did have a lot of questions before I signed up. Family was there for me. I prayed with my higher being. And that is something that I heavily recommend anybody that's thinking about joining. Just go through the checklist, your family. How do they feel about it? And sometimes your family can be one way, but if it's in your heart to do something, you have to do it regardless of who says. So luckily, my family support. And I was grateful for it. So, and they still supported me this far. But awesome. I have to weigh out the pros and cons. And as I stated earlier, the pros heavily outweighed the cons. So it wasn't should I do it or not? So
right. That's what's up. Well, I'm proud of you. You're definitely doing your thing, and we appreciate you serving our country and making a difference, so continue to keep your head up and walk in strength. And, I look forward to, staying connected with you. And again, we want to remind everybody that they can go to goarmy.com/magic, magic for Magic 102.5. So that's goarmy.com/magic to get more information. And you can hit up Brenden or myself if you have any questions. We'd love to point you in the right direction. And again, kudos to you, bro.
Thank you. And before we go, I did want to say something else too. So another reason that I did join the Army was because in the chain of command structure, there aren't a lot of people that look like me and you. Representation is very important to me. And I feel that if I may have a private in my platoon that's like, hey, if Lieutenant Edwards looks like me, officer, and I've never seen an officer in this unit before that's African American, and I could be that officer one day. Yeah. Our unit actually just a few weeks ago had a seminar with several institutions, and it was in regards to why representation matters. And representation matters not only because it makes you feel comfortable, but it makes you feel as if you can be in their shoes at some point in time in your future. Or
Mm-hmm.
hey, he went to air assault school, then I can go to.
Right.
And the captain in the Army, then I can eventually be at that spot too. So, I mean, motivation and the representation is very important. Because
Mm-hmm.
the Army right now, there's diversity, but as far as the higher ranking personnel, it's not a lot of diversity in there. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something that from the discussion we had, the Army is trying to work on, trying to
Right.
support historically black colleges and universities, trying to recruit more minorities as well, to not go directly into the enlisted route, but to also think about going in as an officer, as a commissioned officer, and thinking about, hey, I can do this because Lieutenant Edwards, or I can do this because Lieutenant Payhay did this.
Right.
Motivation for me. So he looks like me, I look like him,
Mm-hmm.
can motivate each other, and I can get to where he's at. So
That's what's up. That's what's up. Good stuff. Well, you know what? The good old saying says sometimes you got to be the change you want to see in this world. And obviously, you want to see change. And at the same time, you might make history at doing so. So keep us posted because we
just
always do this feature called Southeast Texas Black History Makers, which is our folks making history in our community. So we would love to touch back base with you very soon.
yes, ma'am. I love that. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for joining me. Have a great weekend. And make sure you save this video so you can send it to me too, since we went live on your account. Okay?
I will. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All
All right. Take care. Thank you. Don't
Right.
forget, goarmy.com.